Hi everyone, I'm Julie Pagat from Careers and Employability and welcome to Amazing Applications. So in this video I'm going to share some tips you can use to make sure that you impress the employer when you're presenting examples of your skills in an application or a CV. So the first thing is to make sure that your spelling and grammar are correct, because if you do that, you'll really increase your chances of getting through to the next stage. Around 50% of applications get rejected at the initial stages just due to mistakes with spelling and grammar. So if you avoid that, you've already increased your chances of getting through. So another thing you can do is to really mirror the employer's language in your application, because that shows you've paid attention and that you're taking the time to tailor your application, especially for that employer. And most of the larger employers use software to sift applications. So if you use the exact words from the vacancy, that will really help you to get through to the next stage. So another thing you can do is to use something called the STAR framework if you're presenting examples of your skills on your application. So if you've not come across this before, we do have a leaflet which you can have a look at that goes through this in more detail. But in a nutshell, you've got the situation and task, where you describe the situation you were in and you give some details so the employer can visualise what was going on. You explain what you did personally and how you did that, and that's the action. And then the final bit is to explain the result so you could show the impact of what you did. So a final tip is to use what's called action verbs and quantifiers when you're giving examples of your skills, so you can create an impression of someone who'd really excel at the job in the employer's mind. So here are some examples of action verbs, and then in terms of quantifiers, the idea here is that you give numbers, timescales or descriptive words to really get across the scale of your achievements. So you might say, for example, achieved 90% accuracy when sampling whatever, or reached 150 clients within 2 weeks. And that just really gives the employer a sense of how much you've achieved. So you can find some further examples of action verbs and quantifiers on these articles from the Muse. So here is the article that's got some action verbs, and in terms of quantifiers, here is a useful article with some further examples. So hopefully, if you follow everything here, you'll get further with your application. And don't forget that we can provide feedback on your application, and we can do that via email or a 20-minute appointment. So feel free to submit a draft for us to have a look at. You just need to go onto our system here to do that. You might also want to have a look at our how-to videos on My Career Plus for further advice on applications and all sorts of other careers topics. So I hope that's helpful, and bye for now.